Okay, everyone, we want to go through some of the halachas of Tisha B'av, some of the basic halachas that we need to know as we come to this most saddest day on the Jewish calendar, the day of Tisha B'av, the day of destruction of Beis Hamikdash. So, first of all, we are not meant to wear any festive clothing on or festive jewelry on Tisha B'av. This year, being Tisha B'av begins Saturday night, the clothing that we wear on Shabbos, we're allowed to continue to wear after Shabbos. So we don't have to change into non-Shabbos clothes as Tisha B'av comes in. The footwear we wear must not have any leather, so non-leather footwear. We're not allowed to bathe or wash or even rinse any part of our body unless we're doing so because we went to the bathroom or because we got dirty, then we're allowed to. This year, I would suggest, being that we're still dealing with the COVID outbreaks, if you would be washing your hands with soap because of COVID, you went somewhere, etc., you're afraid that you might be contagious, etc., then if that you would do so normally for the sake of COVID, you can do so today as well, or Tisha B'av as well, for the sake of being careful in relation to any issue associated with COVID. We're not allowed to apply makeup, ointment, lotions, perfumes, or creams unless it's necessary for medical or therapeutic reasons. We don't brush our teeth or rinse our mouth. We don't sit on a high stool until midday, which is midday Sunday, which is 12:01. Of course, unless someone is frail or infirm whilst nursing, sitting in a vehicle, then that would be okay. We don't have marital intimacy on Tisha B'av. We're not meant to greet one another on Tisha B'av. So, for example, we don't say Shavua Tov, Good Vach, on Matzah Shabbos on this year on Tisha B'av. And if someone else greets you, then you don't ignore them. You could respond, but you do so in a subdued manner, or even better, if you're able to explain that's Tisha B'av and that's why you haven't greeted, etc. During the Tisha B'av, one should be extra careful not to become angry. One who is ill or elderly, or a woman who gave birth or is pregnant should consult the rabbi to see, in their particular case, if they do not have to fast. Of course, we didn't mention it yet, but the obvious thing of Tisha B'av is that we don't eat or drink, we're fasting. If you inadvertently ate, you still must continue the fast thereafter. It's customary for children from 9 years old to start fasting a little bit. That means they should fast overnight and a few hours into the day, depending on their age, depending on the strength of the child. If one is not well and is meant to, therefore has to eat, you should eat, number one, only in private and not eat any delicacies. And same thing, children should not be eating delicacies. And this year, being we did not make Havdalah yet on Saturday night, if a person is eating, they need to make Havdalah first. Okay, that is without the spices, the psamim. This year, of course, Tisha B'av is on Shabbos. I mean, Matzah Shabbos, Saturday night. And so, first of all, on Shabbos itself, there's no mourning whatsoever. We wear normal Shabbos clothing, and we should not show any signs of mourning. And indeed, you should be more joyous than usual. We eat meat and we drink wine, even though don't do so during the 9 days. But on Shabbos, even the Shabbos right before Tisha B'av, we do. We meant to eat the meal prior to the fast, so we should not be too hungry during the fast, so we have a meal beforehand. During the normal Tisha B'av, that meal has many limitations, and there are a few customs associated with that meal. Being it is Shabbos, however, we eat before Tisha B'av, but we do not eat for the boiled egg and ashes like we would if it was weekday. We just eat normal meal. We could eat with our families. And we shouldn't actually even say that we're eating for Tisha B'av, because we're not allowed to prepare from Shabbos to the weekday. So it's obvious that's why you're doing it, but you shouldn't be also expressing it verbally. We must stop eating and drinking and other things associated that you do on the fast, most other things, when it becomes sunset, which is 5:06 here in Sydney, 5:06 p.m. on Shabbos. We must stop eating and drinking. Similarly, all the other things that we said you're not meant to do in Tisha B'av, you stop at sunset, 5:06, except for leather shoes. We do not take off our leather shoes until after Shabbos, which is 5:46. So until then, we still wear our leather shoes, and we can still sit on a normal chair because it's still Shabbos as well. So we don't mourn on Shabbos, but we don't eat and drink because you wouldn't know then anyway. After Shkia, we don't eat and drink on Shabbos unless we wash in any event. One should not prepare, as we said, from Shabbos to weekday. So we do not prepare our Tisha B'av shoes, which is non-leather shoes, or our kinos, which is the prayers that we say specifically on Tisha B'av. We do not prepare them on the Shabbos itself. Now, of course, we do not make Havdalah Saturday night. And what we do is we, however, do make the blessing on the candle on Saturday night, as we do every Motzei Shabbos when we make Havdalah. This time, all we do is make the bracha bar meresh on a candle. Okay, so Havdalah is made Sunday night after the fast. We make Havdalah, and then we do so without the candle and without the psalm, because that's only done if it's done on Saturday night. On Tisha B'av, Torah makes a person happy, and therefore on Tisha B'av we're not meant to study Torah except for laws of Tisha B'av. So laws of Tisha B'av, laws of mourning, the story of the destruction of Beis Hamikdash, the in Talmud tractate the Gittin, the Medrash on Eicha, Eov and Yirmiyah, or parts of Yirmiyah that speak of the dire prophecies. All these are allowed to be learned and also meant to be learned at Tisha B'av. Tisha B'av is not a time that you are allowed to say, oh, well, I can't learn most things, so therefore I'm not going to learn anything. But we must spend our time learning those aspects of Torah. Before Mincha, one should give extra tzedakah, especially for the food that we're eating. So that we haven't eaten. So to speak, we don't gain by not eating. That the money we would have spent on our food, we should at least give to tzedakah. Tisha B'av in the morning, when we daven Shachris, we do not wear a talis and tefillin. We skip out also one of the brachot. We don't make the bracha on talis and tefillin, and we do not say Sha'asalikot Tzarki, that Hashem gives me all of my needs. We don't say that bracha on Tisha B'av. In the afternoon, the intensity of the morning is lessened a little bit, and it's more relaxed. The afternoon is 12:01 on Sunday, and so only from then can we start preparing the meal. We're allowed to sit on a normal chair, and before Mincha, which is the earliest Mincha is 12:28. We're going to have a Mincha service on Zoom after we hear from Rabbi Schoenberg Lipsker from Bill Harbor, Florida. So after that program, we're going to have a Mincha, and our Mincha service is going to, right at Mincha, we put on talis and tefillin. We conclude those things that we missed out in the morning, so which is the song of the day, Ein Kelakenu, and Tehillim. In a normal year, when we would be in a minyan, we would say Kaddish in between each one of those, but of course, this year we cannot do so. After the fast, which concludes at 5:34, that's when the fast concludes on Sunday. We wash our hands as we would normally wash our hands, right, left, right, left, right, left, till our wrists. And going back to in the morning when we wash our hands after waking up, we're only meant to wash till our knuckles. So in the morning when we wake up, we wash till our knuckles. When we before we daven, we wash till our knuckles. But in the evening or after the fast, then we wash till our wrists. We rinse our mouth and wash our and our face. And then we do a Kiddush Levana. We sanctify the new moon before breaking the fast. As I said earlier, we make Havdalah as well, but without the smelling spice and the candle. Before Kiddush Levana, it is best to first change back into our normal leather shoes. The Beis Hamikdash, even though it was destroyed a ninth of Av, it was burning up until midday of the 10th. It is for this reason that the restrictions of the 9 days can continue into the 10th, and therefore things like eating meat or drinking wine, having a haircut, bathing proper, for pleasure, wearing freshly laundered clothing, doing laundry, all those limitations are extended until 12:01 of the 10th of Av of Monday. So those are halachot, basic general halachot associated with Tisha B'av, and I hope everyone has an easy fast, and hopefully Mashiach comes before the fast so that it's actually a celebration as opposed to a time of mourning. Have a good Shabbos and hope to see everyone tomorrow night for our Eicha service together with a number of other shuls in Sydney.